If you know these songs, you had a good childhood.
And everybody's watching her, but she's looking at you. Ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh. I thank God every day that I woke up feeling this way, and I can't help loving myself, and I don't need nobody else. Nuh-uh. If I was you, I'd want. Come on, turn the radio on. It's Friday night and I won't be long. Gotta do my hair, put my makeup on. It's Friday night and I won't be long till I hit the dance floor, hit the dance floor. I got all I need. No, I ain't got cash, I ain't got cash. I got you, baby. Work, 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 work. You see me happy, work, 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 work. You see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. You saw me by that work, 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 work. When you walk a line, 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 line. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Hate you, I love you. I hate that I love you. Don't want to, but I can't put nobody else above you. I hate you, I love you. I need ya, I need ya, I need you right now. Yeah, I need you right now. So don't let me, don't let me, don't let me down. I think I'm losing my mind now. It's in my head, darling. I hope that you'll be here when I need you the most. So don't let me, don't let me, don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, down, down. Spending all your time in this wrong situation, and anytime you want it to stop, I know I can treat you better than he can, and any girl like you deserves a gentleman. Okay, okay. I want y'all to do this dance now. Juju on that beat, juju on that beat, juju on that, juju on that, juju on that beat. Now slide, chop, hit don't for no stop, hey, don't stop, hey. Don't stop, hey, run a man on that beat, 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 now do your dance, do your dance, do your dance. Could wake up and make up and play dumb, pretending that I need that boy. He's gonna treat me like a toy. I know the other girls wanna wear expensive things with diamond rings, but I don't wanna be the puppet that you're playing on the string. This queen don't need a king. I don't know what you've been told, but this guy right here's gonna rule the world. Yeah, that is what I'm gonna be, because I wanna be. No, I don't wanna sit still or free. It's just me, myself, and I. So don't ride until I die, cause I got me for life. Yeah. Ooh, I don't need a hand to hold, even when the night is cold. I got that fire. King Jane the Killer. I guess I was about 13 to 14 when everything went to hell. I heard that a certain someone's family decided to move across the street in the neighborhood where I live. Great! My first impression of Jeff was that he was a good kid, had decent grades, and never fought with anyone. Ha! That's about to change. He had a little brother named Lou, too. But who cares about him right now? I was running late for school one day,
and I wasn't surprised to see Randy and his good-for-nothing little comrades walk up to Jeff and his brother. Curiosity got the better of me, so I decided to peek through the window. I observed how Jeff punched Randy in the face and broke his wrist. Fucking idiot. Anyway, my parents thought it would be best for me to never speak to Jeff. Who would want to anyway after seeing that son of a bitch kicking the crap out of those bullies? He seemed to enjoy it. A lot. After school, I thought of how much Jeff was a freak. I was at home and I saw a police car outside of Jeff's home. I thought he got caught, which made me smile. But shockingly, Jeff's little brother Lou walked out of the door. I heard Jeff shout to Lou that he was the one who did it. Damn straight he did. I watched the police car take Lou downtown. It's kinda sad. Horrible rumors started to spread across the school, but personally, I didn't want anything to do with Jeff or his brother. But I felt like I wanted to do something about it. Unfortunately, I decided to write a note telling him that he had a friend in this place and that I was going to testify at Lou's trial about what really happened. I signed the letter with the letter J, but the note was gone after I came back into class. On Saturday, I was at home alone whilst my parents worked. I heard that there was the next door neighbor's kid having a birthday party, but as I was doing my homework, I saw that Jeff was playing with the kids. It was kind of laughable. How ridiculous! I thought different of him, so I felt ashamed for suspecting if he was a monster. I regret what I said. He is a fucking monster. Unfortunately, I saw Randy and his goons jump over the fence on their skateboards. Somehow? Ugh, not again. Observing from my window, I witnessed Randy tackle Jeff, so I quickly dialed 911, but the batteries were dead. Fucking great! Troy and Keith both had matching guns in their hands, but how in the fuck did they get a license for those? I knew for a solid moment that they were trying to kill Jeff. I screamed, "Randy, you asshat!" He couldn't hear me though. Deaf piece of shit. I panicked so much, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was looking for my dad's cell phone, hoping he had forgotten it. But once I found it, I phoned 911 and asked them to hurry and send someone as soon as possible. I heard loud gunshots come from next door. I yelped and I dropped the phone and it broke! Ugh! How dare they break on me! There was so much screaming. And fire? How could Randy and the others set fire to a neighbor's house? Fire spewed out of the house, so I ran downstairs, grabbed a portable fire extinguisher, then when I flew through the neighbor's front door, I completely froze. Adults tried putting out the fire on Jeff's body. Jeff's face was not exactly, nice to look at. In fact, it was so ugly, it makes me want to tear my own eyes out. But either way, I passed out. That's how ugly he is. Anyway, I woke up in a patient's gown and asked the nurse what happened. I got knocked out by an apparent fire extinguisher. How could that happen? It was in my hands. The nurse wouldn't let me see Jeff after I asked if he was going to be alright, but she assumed that he was my boyfriend. Hell to the freaking no, bitch! I honestly wanted to rip that nurse's head off. I told my parents everything after she left. I never got to know about Jeff's condition in the end, but I asked my parents who told them about me, and it makes sense that the hospital called them. But how in the world would someone be able to identify me without me having any form of identification? That doesn't make sense! Jeff's parents came into my room, and they introduced themselves to me and my parents. I was embarrassed talking to Jeff's parents. Jeff's parents told me that Lou was being released after I was willing to testify and explain what really happened. They commented on how selfless our generation was, which made me blush. But I'm not some superhero. Jeff's parents decided to invite us all to dinner after Jeff gets out of the hospital. I was honored. Man, I really wish I could travel back in time. I came out of the hospital 2 days later. Went to school feeling like I was the center of attention. More or less. Due to what I saw. I felt embarrassed when Marcy said that I have a crush on Jeff. I denied everything, of course. Weeks went by, and everything seemed to be back to normal. Apparently, I was in school this day. So how did Lou walk up to me and tell me about Jeff? Lou told me that Jeff was gonna get his bandages removed in a few days, and expected me to receive a call for dinner soon. I thanked him. I told him that I respected what he did for Jeff before he left, but he replied with a thanks. Moving on, 2 days had passed until our phone rang. Word from my mom. Jeff was getting out of the hospital. I thought how great that was. I'm currently contemplating why I thought that. A few hours later, Jeff was home, and I was super curious as to how he looks now without all of those bandages. I was nearly sick. Jeff looked at me, and I could feel those soulless, sadistic eyes burn right into my soul. He had long black hair down to his shoulders, white leathery skin, and that smile. My parents came in and asked me what was wrong. So I screamed and fainted. Yet again, I fainted at how ugly his messed up face is. Ugh! I managed to wake up wearing a nightgown somehow. I went downstairs to the kitchen and read a note which was on the table. It said, "Aren't you coming to dinner? Your friends are here too." My friends? Since when were they invited? Unless he dragged them there, I don't know. I dropped the paper feeling shaken. I was terrified out of my mind, and I saw Jeff leaning on the window in his house staring at me with a knife in his hand and tapping it against the window. No matter how much annoying tapping noises he was doing, he was still smiling. I grabbed the knife from the kitchen, then I found the phone. However, the phone line was disconnected. God, why at a time like this? I couldn't find my dad's cell phone, nor could I ask for the neighbor's help. I had no choice in the matter. I had to go fight Jeff alone. Despite how severely nervous I was, I stepped inside of Jeff's house. I knew from that moment I heard Jeff's voice. I screamed over how ugly he was again, except he was covered in blood. And of course, I fainted again. When I woke up, I was at the dining room table. My knife was gone, but when I peered up, my parents, Jeff's parents, his brother Lou, and my friends were all dead, sitting at the table with smiles carved into their faces and huge red cavities in their chests. Death was at my fucking door today! I couldn't scream and free myself due to being tied to the chair and having a gag in my mouth. Hey, ew. The smell and the sight was unbearable. Jeff was right beside me with his knife against my throat as I tried to scream, sobbing my heart out. He began to slide the blade across my face, but suddenly grabbed the back of my head and forced me to look at everyone's corpses. He said something like how I was insulting everyone by not looking at their faces, and what was wrong, thinking how upset I must be that I don't look beautiful like them. I'm looking at dead people. What's so beautiful about that? I tried to understand what he said. Then I looked away when I saw his face again. He told me not to worry and that he'll make me look beautiful too. Jeff asked me what I thought, so he cut the gag off. I told him to go fuck himself, then turned to look at him and said how much of a Joker reject he was. He laughed manically and thought how funny I was. I'm a comedian, apparently. Next thing, he told me how friends do each other favors, and confirmed how he would do a favor for me in return. We were never friends in the first place. He had a jug of bleach and a can of gas in his hands, so he began to cover me in it. So gross! Apparently, he called the firemen, lit up a mat, and threw it at me. I screamed so loud from the fire melting my skin. It was excruciatingly painful. I heard Jeff laughing. See you later, my friend. I hope you become as beautiful as I am. Everything went black after that. I was in the hospital, bandaged just like how Jeff was. I cried after the nurse told me that my parents died in a fire. No, my parents were murdered by Jeff, you stupid bitch! I woke up and were asleep for almost 2 weeks. I was put in a medically induced coma in order for my body to heal itself. I shouted at the nurse to fetch me a mirror, but when I saw my reflection, I looked almost as bad as Jeff. Well, Jeff's even worse when it comes to looks. A delivery man came by, so the nurse gave me the package. This mystery person had sent me flowers before, so why would it care to send me this too? My blood turned to ice. It was a white mask with black around the eyes and a black feminine smile. There was also a long black dress with a turtleneck, black gloves, and a black wig with beautiful curls. Along with all these things, there was a bouquet of black roses and a sharp kitchen knife. Attached to the mask, there was also a note. Jane, I'm sorry I messed up trying to make you beautiful, so I gave you a mask that will let you seem beautiful until you get better. Also, you forgot your knife. I thought you would want it back. Jeff. I sneaked out of the hospital. I slipped into the dress, found a pair of shoes, and wore the wig. I came to a cemetery, and after I found my parents' tombstones and cried over it, the sun began to rise. I took the mask and put it on, then picked up the knife and held it as tightly as I did before. I swore to myself that I would have vengeance against Jeff, the killer, and ever since that day, I've been trying to find Jeff and kill him, hunting him like the animal he is. I will prevent Jeff's victims from becoming victims, so they don't get killed by Jeff. Sounds crazy, right? But that's my life goal. Don't go to sleep. You won't wake up. This is Draw My Life with Jane the Killer. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.
Ursha, baby. Yeah. We did it again. And this time, I'ma make you scream. Yeah, man. I see you over there, so hypnotic. Thinking about what I do to that body. I get you like, ooh, baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. Got no drink in my hand, but I'm wasted. Getting drunk, all the thought of you naked. I get you like, ooh, baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. And I tried to fight it. You're so magnetic. Got one life, just live it. Now relax and get on your back. If you wanna scream.